So this is today's lesson. We're going to do the Temple of Doom chord map. Now let me explain what the Temple of Doom chord map is. You've seen that scene in Indiana Jones. You can see the golden idol right at the end of the cave. You can see that there. But he knows, because obviously he's Indiana Jones, he knows that if he just walks straight forward, you know, without thinking about where he's walking, he's probably going to stand on a booby trap. He's going to set something off. And then next thing you know, yeah, he's got a poison arrow in his butt, or he falls in a pit with spikes, or something happens that's perilous and dangerous. We don't want that. The thing is, you know, he's always got his notepad. You've seen, he's got a little notepad with all his scribblings in, and he's got a map because he knows, he's done all his research. He's got this map that helps him to get from where he's at to get to the golden idol, which is the objective that he wants. There's a way of walking round that means that he is safe, and that is the analogy for today. Now, this is a weird way of thinking about it, but hopefully it makes sense. If Indiana Jones steps on the wrong thing, you know it's not going to... Oh, late arrival, ladies and gentlemen. I can give you a Yorkshire tea salute. She's back. There you go. There you go. Hey up. And it's hot. But if he does stand on the wrong thing, it's going to be Doom. That's the Temple of Doom. We're going to do this in the key of C major, the good old C major, because it's got no sharps or flats, because everything's easy. And because it's so easy, that's where all the songs get written. So this is going to apply to loads of songs as well. Pen and pencil time. So like I say, this is C major. So we've got this here. I'm going to draw everything out first so you can see how it comes together. Then I'm going to play it on guitar so you can hear what it sounds like. So C major, we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We could put C back in there again and that would give us the octave, but there is the C major scale. Now what I could do is, if I'm clever about it, I could use the cycle of thirds. If you've seen my cycle of thirds stuff, then this might help you to understand what's going on. And I'm just going to transfer this. So if I go C, and if you remember the mnemonic for the cycle of thirds, the one that I use is every good band deserves fans and cash. So if I go there, cash, every good band deserves fans, and there is the cycle of thirds. And this is going to come in handy for you to be able to spot out your chords. We've got C major here, and then we turn that into cycle of thirds. That means if we want to know what chord 1 is in the key of C major, which is C, we got a C, an E, and a G. Now, this is the floor of the Temple of Doom. The circles are the places you are allowed to stand, that you will not get an arrow in your butt, yes? If you stand on one of these here, I call those the not notes, then you will be at peril. You will play a wrong sounding note and it will make you cringe. This is the thing. Yeah. So let's have a look at this. So what we're going to do is we'll start on this here. Now, because this is the C major scale, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this in quickly. We're starting on the E here, the E notes. We've got this E note here. E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so hopefully you can see there. We've got these here. E, F, G, A, B, C. Next one, we're just carrying that musical alphabet along. D, next note up is E, next note up is F. Notice we've started again. Hopefully, look, you can see where these semitones live between E and F, B and C, bacon crispy, eggs fried. So if you've seen the fretboard map lesson on this, then this is the one you need here. So E, F, G, next note, then we've got an A, then we've got B, then we get back to C again. Look, C-shaped octave. You've got to know all your octaves. You could just use this and work out all your octaves. B, C, D, then we go back to E, because that's the thick E string, this is the thin E string. They're both just mirrors of each other. E, F, G. Okay, so we've got E, F, G there, and that fleshes that all out. What we need to do then is we've got to think about this, and we're thinking of it as like a word search, essentially. We're looking at it like a puzzle. So this is the map, and what we've got to do is we've got to find the chords that are in there. So the first chord we're going to look for, obviously, is we're going to build a chord off this note here, and this is going to be C major. So if we get the C major, what we can do is we could look at the cycle of thirds, and we can see that we get C, E, and G. And if we look at that on the map, you can see here we get C. So let me just put that on here. C. Then we get the E here. And then what happens is we get this open G here. Then what happens is we repeat that C again. So we get 2 root notes. Hopefully you can see that we've got that octave in there. And then look at this, going from this E to this E here, we get another octave. Can you see that? Now generally what we do is with this chord, we mute the E string, but I'm going to show you that we don't necessarily have to do that, because what we want to think about with this is, if we land on one of these, it's a legal move. If we land on one of these where there is no circle and no note name there for us, then that's an illegal move. That's what I call a not spot. And what's a not spot? Not it's not good. So you can see there we end up with the C chord. Okay. Now, already, hopefully you can see. Let me just explain a bit more about the shape of this scale pattern here that we can see. We've got 3 notes on this string. We've got 3 notes on this string, 3 notes on this string. This G string is a little bit different. It's only got 2 notes on it. Then you can see on this one there's 3 notes, and then on this one there's 3 notes. People sometimes get a little bit lost crossing over these if you were to play this as a scale, and I will play that as a scale when I've drawn these out for you. Hidden inside there is the C major chord. C, E, G, C, E. You can see it's just there. Right, there's all those extra notes that we can actually leverage and use and find more chords. We can find more chords. We want more chords. So the next chord up, I'm just going to put that's D minor there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got wobbly bob, chord 7 at the end there. The next chord we need is D minor. If we go around here on the cycle of thirds, we can see that D minor goes D, F, and A. Well, if I look here, I can see that I've got an open D, and you'll start to see where this D minor chord comes from. So the D there, the next note that we know that forms this shape, we've got the A, we've got the D, and then we've got the F over here. So we've got D, A, D. It's a dad chord, right, with the F in there. So what happens is you can see that forms the D minor chord. Now we need this E minor chord. We can see the open E string from our E minor chord, and then we've got the B here. If you know the shape of these chords and you've been using them, then you might not realize how many root notes appear in these chords. In this one, if we look at the cycle of thirds, we get E, G, and B. So, okay, so I'm going to be looking for the G, which is there, which confirms the diagram. There's a B there, which confirms the diagram. There's an E there as well. So there you get your E minor chord, okay? There's the E minor. Next, the tricky one. This is the tricky one. Let's have a look. F. The F chord, F, A, C. We can see that we've got the C, which is the 5th. Let's put that in there. Then we get back to another F there, which is another root. Just like this E minor. Look at this E minor. How many E's are in it? 1, 2, 3. It's a very strong, stable sounding chord. And I could just look over a little bit and think, well, if that's an F, then that's going to be an F on the thin E string as well. Just logical, really, if you think about it. And then what we need is F, A, C to form that chord there. We've got the A on the 2nd fret there. Okay, and then we've got this C here. So you can see how these chords form themselves. Look, 3 Fs, 2 Cs, and 1 A in that. Yeah, the Fs are the root notes. This is a 5th, root, 3rd, we got a 5th, and then a root. So you can see how they all add up and tally up like that. So that's a great way of seeing it. So this shows you how these basic cowboy chord grips come about. So I'll bang that there. After the F, we're going to get a G. Now, there's a couple of different Gs. There's what I call the Oasis G and the Bob Dylan G. But I'm going to do the Oasis G. So we've got a G here, right? Because this tallies in here. And if we look at the cycle of thirds, we get G, B, D. G, B, D. Good band deserves. So we just cycle that in your head. Good band deserves. So we go G, B, D. And this is good. Just plotting it out. It does your brain good. Keeps the old grey matter active. So we've got this G here. G here also. And then what I'm going to do is put this in brackets actually, because we know this is G, B, D. If I go here, I know I've got a B here, but what you can do is you can iron out the sound of this chord. 2/3 in a chord tends to sound a little bit disharmonious because the notes rub against each other. What we could do is iron it out by having another 5th in there. And that other 5th, because the 5th is transparent, it doesn't add any colour to the chord and doesn't taint the colour of the chord. It just sounds a little bit more harmonious. When I play through the chords, you'll hear that. There's nothing to say that with the D on, it's not a G chord. With the B on, it's not a G chord. It's whichever one you feel most comfortable with, whichever one most represents the music that you are drawn to. The next chord we get is this A minor. Now, A minor, let's have a look. If we look at the little circle of thirds here, we can see we get A, C, and E. So with this A minor, we've got chord 6, A, C, E. Okay, so A, E, A, C, E. So let's put those in. A, E, then we've got an A there. You can see we've got the A doubled up there. We've got an octave. Then we get the minor third here, which is the C. And then we get the E here. Now, if I put that there, I'll zoom in down here on this one. Hopefully you can see this. Root, 5th, root, get the flat third there, and then we get another 5th. So if you want to look at this, you think there's 2 root notes, there's 2 5ths, and there's 1 3rd. And I think the fact that it's got 1 3rd works out better. Like I say, with the G, if we had the B in there, we could have 2 3rds, and that causes a rub. Right, I'm going to include this one. Do you know what? I didn't include enough notes on this one. I'm not particularly a fan of this one, but this is going to be the B diminished. We just put it in to be complete. I need to add another fret on here. This one sneaks out of this range here that we have in this open position. And we get the B here. So let's have a look. Chord 7. On chord 7, let me zoom in on that because that'll make it a bit easier. Zoom in. Boom. Chord 7. You can see we get B, D, and F there. So chord 7 is B, D, F. Well, let's put the B in here. Let me scroll down here. Right. So let's put the B in here. We're going to put the F in there. We're going to put a B in here. And then we're going to grab the D there. And that's how you would voice a diminished chord. You can see that essentially what you've got is a root, a flat 5. You've got the root and the flat third there. So you get the triad there. I don't think this is the best one, but I do like this voice because sometimes if you put other notes on top, without getting too crazy with the theory about this, diminished chords, I tend to think of them as partners to dominant chords. This will easily convert into a dominant 7th chord or something like that, or some altered dominant. So there is the map. Hopefully that makes sense. You can see that from this word search, essentially, you should be able to see the C chord, the D minor chord. You can see the D minor chord. You can see the E minor chord, the F chord there. You can see the G chord. You can see the notes of the G chord in there, the A minor chord, and then if we had that extra fret, we'd get that B diminished as well. So that's how the music theory of this chord map works. If you want to see how to play these chords, then watch this video here.